Hey guys, I had some spare time this afternoon, which doesn't usually happen to me. You know, after work, the wife and daughter are out and about, and I happened to be parked right by this really cool shop, not too far from where I live. But I was parked right by it, and I don't normally go there because I have my other shop where I have my pull. But it's a really cool shop, and I had time to browse, and so of course I ended up spending some money picking up some books. One thing I got was The Ballad of Halo Jones by Alan Moore and Ian Gibson. I believe this is from 2000 AD. I really, despite my huge Alan Moore fandom, I really don't know anything about The Ballad of Halo Jones. I assume it's very early Alan Moore. Yeah, it is the publisher of this trade anyway, it's 2000 AD. So I assume what I'm going to be getting is lots of 4 or 5 page chapters or 4 or 5 page vignettes and stories. The black and white art isn't immediately appealing. Hopefully it'll be easier to get into. Not so much because it's black and white, but because the pages look so crowded. I guess I had to get a lot in per page in 2000 AD. And then I keep meaning to buy some Department H depth in hardback. So there it was, and these are quite amazingly reasonably priced hardbacks at $20 a piece. So buying it without a discount seemed like a good choice, and supporting the store and supporting Dark Horse Comics. And of course, it's got good binding, so I'm happy with that. Really nice. The paper just feels nice. So there's a nice page. So I don't think too many of the people I watch on YouTube are talking about Department H anymore. Probably Jared Osborne still is, and I don't know who else. But it sounded good from what everyone said. And this one was 50% off. They had some pretty hefty 50% off carts full of 50% off trades. I should have spent more time looking through those, but I didn't. But I saw Zombo. This one's called Zombo, You Smell of Crime and I'm the Deodorant. And it's by Al Ewing, the writer. I think it also is, 2000 AD. And I always hear on the podcast, Wait, What? Oh, it's in color, wow. And they rave about Zombo, but I never understand why. Looks like there's gonna be quite a bit of gutter loss there. But at 50% off, I figured it was a good chance to give it a try. It's a trade paperback, but it feels very high quality, higher quality than from the big comics. Even the cover has an interesting, weird kind of texture. I've never felt that. Boy, the picture looks almost 3D, but there's no 3D technology there. And I, just because it was looking at me and I remembered I had been meaning to get it, I grabbed Black Magic. Does that look like Adrienne Barbeau to you? Is that how you pronounce her name, Adrienne Barbeau? She was in the Swamp Thing movie. She was quite the scream queen. I think she was in a lot of horror movies, and she was, in the US anyway, well known at one point in the 70s for playing Maude's daughter in that show Maude, spin-off from All in the Family. And then I got Mockingbird Volume 2 with the famous or infamous cover. I read Volume 1 and I liked it a lot. I didn't think it was particularly feminist in any strong-handed way. The character herself is a feminist, but there wasn't much about that in the story. Maybe there'll be more about that in this volume. It's a very slender volume. I think this got canceled pretty quickly. So, but I think it sells quite well now, maybe thanks to all the hubbub about it. But the woman who runs this shop has kids at the same school I do, and Chelsea Kane, who wrote this book, has kids at the same school I do too. So that's part of why, instead of just reading it on Marvel Unlimited, like I do most Marvel comics, I thought I would buy both volumes. And I bought one volume and I enjoyed it, so I'm very happy to buy the second volume. I like the writing. I wasn't a big fan of the art. Looks like a mix of artists this time. Wow, that Is that Howard Chaykin? That's kind of bizarre. Howard Chaykin working with Chelsea Cain. Okay, or maybe that's a reprint of something before Chelsea Cain worked on it. I think there might be filler material in here. Could that be? What is the story? Looks like almost like Mike Deodato. Yep, Mike Deodato and Howard Chaykin. Oh, and Brian Michael Bendis writing. That would be quite a stunt to hook up Chelsea Cain with Howard Chaykin right now and see what the two of them would come up with. That would be bizarre. Yeah, the art seems okay. Maybe a little better than in the first volume. That was the weakness of that. Then I picked up some single issues that I didn't think I had. Elsewhere, issue number 4. Me and my daughter are enjoying reading that. And something I'd never heard of, Black Hole Repo, 1985, part 1. And this is a heavy metal comic, although it doesn't say that anywhere on here as far as I can tell. Oh, there it is, Heavy Metal Comics. And it's either the first or second heavy metal comic I've actually seen. I knew they were now publishing comics. And Heavy Metal is another comic book company that has now moved to Portland, Oregon, along with Image and Oni and Dark Horse. Dark Horse was already here. Oni was already here. But then Image has moved here. Heavy Metal has moved here because of Portland supposedly being the hub of comic books. And I feel like a couple of others have moved here too, but I can't remember which ones. And then there's this Black Mask comic that, let me see if I can get these in order. I think this completes the story, and I had issue 1, but I still haven't read it. And since these things are hard to come by, and I saw that they had 2 through 5, I just grabbed them all. It has really cool covers, and I started reading it. Something about it turned me off, and I put it down and read something else. I'm talking about issue 1. And I was just listening to the comic book roundtable where Travis and Ress were saying good things about There's Nothing There. At least I think that's the one they were talking about. I was at work. I was doing work while listening to them, so hopefully that's what they're talking about. I love these covers. So There's Nothing There, number 2. There's Nothing There, number 3. There's Nothing There, number 4. And There's Nothing There, number 5. So I'm psyched to dig into that. That's interesting. There's Nothing There, number 5 has completely different cover stock from the others, which the others have a nice matte cover stock. And this one, number 5, has a glossy cover stock. It feels a bit thicker too. Did it cost the same amount? $3.99, yes. So anyway, that was my little off the beaten track haul for me. I have too many comic books, but it's just kind of a moment of opportunity. I'd wanted to spend some time at that shop. They're called Books with Pictures. If you happen to live in Portland, well worth checking out. The woman who runs it is very cool and fun to talk to. So I'll talk to you all later. Bye-bye.